Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming out to the Manitoba Stronger Together Zoom call tonight. Tonight, we're going to do things, mix up our order just a little bit because our guest speaker, Sandra Saint-Cyr, has let me know that she had another meeting at 7, so she kindly agreed to come on, but we have to have her out a little bit early. So we're just going to jump right into this. And Sandra, how are you this evening? How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Ken. Glad to
No,
be here and thank you for rearranging things for my time.
Well, it was interesting. Sandra and I ran into each other at church a couple of weeks ago, and she was busy carrying honey, and I was in a crazy Santa Claus outfit at church, and of course, not wanting to miss an opportunity to bring on a great guest, we talked a little bit about what she's up to right now, and I thought it would be a fantastic idea, which is kind of an update on where she was a year ago. So, just for some of you who may not have been on our last Zoom call with Sandra or don't know who she is, Sandra, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your background and the things that you've done, and then we'll get into exactly why you're here tonight.
Well, thank you. Before I even jump into that, I want to say thank you to you and Rosalie and to Ken Lee because, wow, what a great experience I've had with the support from Manitoba Stronger Together and from you all. Some of you on the call tonight, so it's nice to see those familiar faces that good memories for sure. I'm a wife, a mother of four, and a teacher of this will be my 41st year of teaching. I'm not subbing too much now, but I'm back in the schools in a new way, which we'll get to soon. Oh well, looking back, it was June 2024, the by-election to replace Francine Champagne in LRSD. And we had a chat, and I was blessed to receive the support and went out there talking to parents. My motivation was for parents to be in the know, still is, hasn't changed, for families and parents to know what's really in the policy and in the protocols in Louis Riel School Division, to know what their kids are being taught, and to even support teachers who need to have someone to have a voice as well. And I did a lot of that work while I was still working in Louis Riel. I worked in the school division for 25 years, first when it was St. Vital, and then later when it amalgamated and became Louis Riel. And had some success getting books taken out of the library, various things, but I thought I would be able to maybe affect more awareness as a board member. I've learned so much. I have to say, this has been like a major transformation over the last year, and I've really come full circle on some things. But anyway, it was an amazing experience, and I found a ton of support at the doors when we were all out knocking every night. It was fun and it was crazy, and we made so many good connections. And I never met a parent who didn't say yes, parents should know everything. And that was the basis of my campaign, was that parents should know. They should know everything about their child. Nothing should be withheld. Nothing should be hidden. There shouldn't be anything in the policies that allow for that in public school or anywhere else. So anyway, before the vote night, there was a lovely newspaper article which was very slanderous and made up in the newspaper about me and one of the other candidates, as saying how dangerous we were as right-wing crazies, and I lost. And you know, I didn't take that as a loss, even though I didn't take the seat that Francine had left open. I decided, after much prayer, soul searching, that I would be at every meeting that next year. And so I went to, I think I missed two meetings right at the beginning of the year, but I got myself gathered, and I was in person at every board meeting for the entire year, and I wanted to learn. I have to admit, I was really frustrated. The the first times I was applying to speak, and they would never let me speak those years prior to the election. And I thought I need to bring peace in there. I need to really reflect what I believe. So um, I thought I'm going to go, I'm going to make connections, I'm going to learn, I'm going to find out where's the block? Why are these very intelligent leaders that were my administrators and bosses, why are they not seeing what seems to be so obvious? So um, I started to attend the meetings, listen, ask questions here and there. Got to go out for coffee with Sandy Namath a couple of times. Was able to ask her some important questions, share my experiences in the election. And then finally, just in the new year, early in 25, I applied to speak again. And they started the process of wanting more details. So I gave them more details. Then it would just draw out and stretch out for weeks. And then I would finally say, is there a response? And no, we need more details. So I would send more details. And it was just holding me off. I realized no public was speaking, like no one was allowed to speak. There was one parent group that was allowed to bring a presentation because they were lobbying the government for funding for a new school. So that was acceptable. Anyway, as it went on, I ended up sending my entire presentation in and just saying, tell me what I need to fix or take out. Like I'm willing to do anything. I just want to, have an opportunity to present. And I never heard back. So they just like ignored it and shut me out, even though I had been there, very respectful, uh, and very cooperative in every way. So I realize they are not interested in hearing from the public. They are not interested in hearing from an experienced teacher or a past employee. They don't want to know what's on our minds. And and I kind of felt like, okay, it's time to shake the dust off and move on. Um, it's if they aren't interested and they aren't going to follow the rules of engagement with the public, then this is a waste of my time. Um, Even though I'm so committed to the kids and family still. So, I feel like that was a bit of a well, that was my learning. No matter what I went in with, there's a the whole thing is broken. The whole thing is broken. And during that time, another trustee had breached the protocols, and they announced that he had breached the protocols, but yet they wouldn't tell us how. And they said that was in the Public Schools Act, which they admitted later it wasn't in the Public Schools Act. They're kind of making it up as they go along, and that's really sad and ugly when it comes to our kids and families and our vote, because it means nothing if my representative to that board breaches the protocol and they won't tell me why. How do I vote? I really don't know what's going on. And I did have a chance to have that conversation with Sandy Nemeth. She's back in charge of the board again. It was Chris Sigurdsson for the year that I attended, and yeah, he really had no interest in entertaining the public. Um, so I decided to just leave it at that, and I had other opportunity that was knocking at my door. And that was a friend of mine and her husband who decided they wanted to have an opportunity to bring instruction to the students in the schools. I had worked with her before with CEF, which is Child Evangelism Fellowship. They've been around forever. They're the only organization that goes into the schools to do clubs. They call it religious instruction according to the bylaw. And that has been that's been just a beautiful, beautiful experience so far. We started just at the end of November, beginning of December, and we have 55 students signed up, and it's incredibly wonderful. We have a group of grade 1 to 3 and a group of grade 4 to 8, and we're in the brand new school. in Sage Creek. So my French is improving very slightly, and yeah, we do instruct in English, but it's God's doing something great in there, and I'm feeling like there's other ways to have an impact. I really support, government's got to change. I support all of the efforts, and I feel that we just really personally need to be led in what we do. And there'll be many ways to bring change to our country, but for me, I want to be with the kids and let others, as they're led, get involved in government. It's such a broken system, as you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of that's because of non-participation by the voters. So these elected representatives don't feel that they're obligated to those people that don't vote for them.
Well, they're not obligated to anyone. That's my experience because I mean, I've followed all the rules right in front of the lowest level of government, a school board, and they're not playing the game according to the rules. So, like, I don't know how that gets fixed. I've written letters to everyone everywhere, and it's it's broken.
Well, you might not be able to answer this, and this is kind of perhaps it's not a fair question, but my understanding is that the teachers union has significant impact in these elections, and if you haven't got support of the teachers union, you generally don't get elected. Did you experience anything, or do you have any insights into that, Sandra?
Yeah, well, I have my own personal experience, and well, the teachers union stopped representing teachers a long, 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 long time ago. They represent other interests. Not sure what they are, but I do know because it was shown a text from the teachers union rep to a voting teacher in the riding, or in the riding when the where the vote was. In the bylaw, and they were asking, like, who should we vote for? And they said, not her, not Sandra. I was not on the acceptable list. So, it happens. It happens.
And you were considering that you were a teacher in Louis Riel School Division for 25 years. That means for 25 years you were a paying union member, were you not?
Yep.
So your own union. Now I don't know whether the person that got elected was a teacher who had been a paying union member or not. Do you know that?
Well, he is a teacher in another division, so yeah, he would be for sure.
Ah, okay, okay. So they it seems that a system, a school division, for instance, that's not supposed to be subject to party politics is subject to union politics.
Hmm.
Isn't
Which
that
is, I
interesting?
think, party politics. So,
Well, of
I
course it
mean,
is. It's
yeah.
it's it's like everything else nowadays. It's they changed the name. Now, I want to be a little more clear because I know you're trying to get through your presentation and you did a fantastic job, but I would like to spend a little more time to explain to folks what exactly you've done. You've utilized a program that is offered in Manitoba schools in order to set up a course within the school, a specialized course. So can you talk a little bit about that, Sandra?
Yes, I would love to. So this couple, Sophronia and Pavin Ernest, she had been working with CEF, and like I said, we'd worked in years past with CEF. I worked with them many, many years ago when my children were little in public school, and they train and provide curriculum for people to go in and do Bible classes. She felt the desire to do something slightly different. They're the only organization that's doing it now in Manitoba. I believe Manitoba is the only province that still allows for this in their Public Schools Act. So anyone, it's not hard. Anyone who wants to present a club to students under the religious instruction caption can collect minimum 26 signatures from parents in their school. Now, they don't have to promise to have their kids attend, they just are supporting the fact that it would be available for their children or others. So we had, I believe, we had well over those, the amount required. And so it goes before the board 3 times to be voted on. They really can't vote against it. It's in the Public Schools Act. Um, there was a little pushback at the meeting, but it went through as it would. Um, Christian Michalik, he was supportive, saying that, we've always had very good relations with these organizations. And so it was passed, and we had 55 students to start. So we go in at lunch on Thursdays, and this program that we are currently like designing, sorry about my dog, it's more of an experiential program rather than a Bible lesson. We want to help kids to understand how to be led by God in our everyday world, to understand their identities as believers in God and who they were created by, and also to understand a worldview that is kingdom minded. So those are our goals. And, we have a little website, which we're so blessed to have Pavan, has the expertise to do that. It's simple, but it tells about who we are. It really just gives parents our faith statement. And so if they have any questions, they can go there and get in touch with us. We also accept donations. We have a group of volunteers that we want to make sure we can help them with their background checks, the costs of their volunteer clearance. And yeah, and off you go. Like we could have 30 different groups doing this, and it still wouldn't cover all the schools, right? So, like, I just encourage anyone who's feeling led that way to explore it, because it's a simple process, really.
Mhm.
And
Sandra, what's the website address?
the website address, I want to make sure I get it right. The group is called Shining Lights of Manitoba. The website address is shininglightsmb.ca. So yeah, shininglightsmb.ca. And there's an email and other information there. And
Okay.
we're just really excited. We've had other schools say, well, why don't we have it? So I don't know what's coming, but we're having a great time with the students that we're getting to know. Um, I my heart and the direction that I'm receiving is that it's not a teacher in front delivering information, but it's a how do we love and support and exist in this world together as people who believe and who follow really
Mhm.
follow God in the ways of Jesus, and it's a really wonderful experience.
Now, the provision in the Schools Act that you're talking about, it's not just for a religious instruction, isn't it for specialty instruction as well? For instance, if you want to teach them to speak Slovenian and you have the number of parents saying they want to support it, I think you can have other kinds of things under that provision as well. Is that correct or not?
I don't want to definitively say, but that sounds like it makes sense. We went in under the religious instruction heading, so but yeah, it's probably and well, in schools anyway,
Yeah.
any club can be started as long as there's a teacher representative in that club.
Hmm.
So if it wasn't a teacher representative, then yeah, this is slightly different process, but it just needs to have support. And yeah, it's uh, it's very doable. For me, I think if God's calling you that way, or you feel really led to do that, then just want you to know it's not difficult.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, I don't want to make you late for your next meeting. Are you okay? Can you take
I'm
a
okay
couple
for
of
a couple more minutes. We're actually meeting in my home today, so my
Huh.
husband's on duty. The
Is
coffee's on, they're fine.
do any of the message members have questions they want to ask? This is your
That would be
opportunity.
great.
James, go ahead.
I just want to say welcome back, Sandra. Always a pleasure to hear from you, my dear. I
Thank you.
wrote down sort of my top 6 things that I feel all need to be raised. Number one on that list is faith. Second is hope, love, vibrations, frequencies, and consciousness. And if we just do all that and embrace God more, like, you know what? I sort of set myself, I have my own relationship with whatever creator. I didn't want to give it a name, but as Ken will attest, I was at the Universal Ostrich Farm this summer and I saw a miracle. I saw so many miracles that summer, this past summer, that I can't suggest anything other. God is real. God needs to be embraced by everybody. And if we can just raise those levels, this is all going to shatter. All the bad stuff are going to go away.
Mhm.
So
That's
that's my
beautiful.
2 cents.
That's beautiful. That's I've been telling the volunteers, all we need to do is go in and love those kids. That's it.
Yep.
We just need to go in, love them, let them know they're created and they're loved and they're valued, and they bring that light to others around them. And yeah, we don't need any other permission to do that. So it's great that we can do this, that Manitoba still provides for this. And we need to, I think it's great to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
I don't see a whole lot of other hands there, but Sandra, were there any mistakes that you made going along, starting this thing that you'd want to warn folks, well, maybe don't do this or do this better or
You know what? We had so many conversations. The Ernests, the couple that sort of did the administrative side of it, and then asked me to come on as their teacher. And I would say the biggest mistake is our hesitation, because we're like, do we need a fancy website? Do we need this? Do we not? You don't need any of that. You need the signatures from the parents who, beautiful families who say yes. They allow us to spend time with their amazing children, get to know them, and really just that's what you need. And you follow the outline in the Public Schools Act, and anyone can do it. So yeah.
we've got another person with their hand up. Kirsten, go ahead. You're muted, by the way. There you go.
Yeah, I just had one quick question. What are you doing, Sandra, with all your groups to fight Bill C-9, which is attacking our religious freedom in Canada?
I'm not doing anything. And I'm just saying that because, I guess my focus is not on that. I've come like out of the sort of us and them mindset, and I'm just really making an effort to in a way not be in the fight, but to be in
Solution.
the place of connecting, just connecting with people, having conversations. Speaking at the ledge when I did over, I can't remember the number of the bill. When they amended the human rights
Yep.
code. I That was an amazing experience. I sat there for an entire day and learned so much. And I heard the hurt in people's hearts who were speaking for adding gender expression to the bill, and I really heard the hurts and the rejection that they're feeling, and I thought, okay, it's our job to connect. It's our job to bring those things, love and hope and light into every relationship. So I'm really sort of rejecting the us and them. We're in the fight mentality, but I definitely understand there's many ways to go at this.
Yeah.
For me,
I still
have
suggest
connect.
we have 40 people on here tonight, and some of you have liberals out in your areas. We need to let them know that we
Mhm.
want these bills changed. As they're changing all these bills in Parliament, it is exactly what Hitler did in the 30s, and soon there will be no fight. You can have all your community you want when they round you up and put you into the gulag. Um, y- have your conversation with your MPs. Please talk to all your officials. Have conversations with your local councils.
Yeah.
Get the rest of your community that you're having conversations and spreading love with to speak up, because soon we won't have a voice. We won't be able to speak up. We can all go to jail. There's over 3,000 people in jail in the UK because of Facebook posts. Soon we will not be allowed to say any religious things, and it will be federal law.
Mhm.
And if you don't engage, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Um, uh, it, Being born in Germany and having to live with that blackness hanging over me, if we stick our heads in the sand, we're we're every bit as guilty as the Gestapo.
Yes, I agree. And
So
I
you
think
have a big reach. You obviously connect with a lot of people, and so do the other 40 people that are in here tonight. Please, let's fight against some of these bills. If you don't have to take a fighting, but empower your MP, empower your politicians to speak their mind and not go down this dark hole of evil.
Mhm.
Kirsten, is there is an organization that you're involved with that we could maybe hop on that you're doing along with
Well,
you?
I- I'm with the CCCA, the Canadian COVID Care Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
I speak up at that, and I'm also an executive director on the economiccharter.ca, which I did post in there earlier, that we are trying to get critical mass, because that's the only thing that our politicians will listen to if we can get enough people speaking out. But they've been able to slow down Bill C9 because people are speaking out, but we need more people speaking out so that nobody in Parliament would be comfortable passing that. We need to let them know that we feel strongly about these things. And there's not a good bill that they're trying to pass right now. You can fight for all of them, but with your background, I am suggesting the Bill C9 as one to at least be writing a letter. Do it with love and with community,
yep.
and empower your
Kirsten, I
people.
appreciate that. We've got to let Sandra go, otherwise she'll be after me in church the next
That's
Sunday
fine.
saying I
I would
kept her
say
past our deadline. So,
to
Sandra,
just wrap up, I'd say make sure you come from a place of peace, that you're led by care, concern, and love, God. That if you can connect, speaking the truth in love, it's it's going to be that way with strength. Um, I know there's another trustee in another division. She said, unfortunately, when people come to speak and they do let them speak in her division, they're always angry and kind of crazy. So we need to just present what we believe, and that's important. Yeah, it's just such a time in the world. Like,
yeah, you're
so
right.
do
You're
as
right.
you're led. Everybody's going to have their own way, their own direction, their own specific bent. So.
And style. Absolutely. I
Mhm.
mean, we have instruction on our website as to how to go about presenting, how to go about getting a meeting, and the number one rule of getting a meeting is you want a second one. So you
Mhm.
don't go in there with a bad attitude. But Sandra,
Fortunately, in Louis Riel, there is no way to get a meeting, even if you're kind and respectful and sit there all year and ask pretty please. It's not going to happen there. So there are divisions though that are still hearing from the public.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I do pray that there's a wholesale change in LRSD and that parents can be heard again.
yeah, that's what we're working towards.
Right.
Once again, Sandra, thank you very much. We'll let you go, and
Thank you.
it was so good to see you again. Thanks.
Been a pleasure. Keep up the awesome work. It's too bad my meetings are always on Tuesday, but soon that will change, and then I'll be back in the gallery.
We'll look forward to it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Now we can go back to our, sorry, James, I will get back to you. We can get back to our agenda, and I'm going to share my screen here. So what you're looking at there is, I'm just going to, here we go. There. What you're looking at right now is the blog post that we send out every Monday, the day before this, and it's on our website. You can actually go to the blog posting on our website and look at any of the other ones that we posted over time. And there's all kinds of interesting links in there. Someone, as a matter of fact, Deb, you'll appreciate this one. Someone emailed me this morning and they asked me, "Hey, where can I find that information that Deb presented last week about dizziness?" And so I told them it's in the blog post, and then I sent it to them. So people are starting to become more aware of this. So every week we present the day before this meeting, we have a blog post. Tells you who our what our theme is for the night. It tells you who our guest is going to be. It gives you a little bit more information here. So in our typical blog post, again, it tells you who our guest speaker is, and here you'll be able to get a lot more information about Sandra. It's interesting when you speak to somebody like Sandra, there's so many layers to who the person she is that you don't realize it. She has presented at the Justice Committee at the legislature. She talked about where she's taught. She taught in Scandinavia. She taught in the northern regions. She was also a donor, an organ donor, believe it or not. So very, what I would say is a true Canadian, unsung Canadian hero. In any case, just moving on here on our agenda, just to remind everybody, thanks for taking the time to join us. These meetings are about more than just sharing information. They're about fostering connection and courage and strength. Informed community is the route to truthful and respectful dialogue. So we're glad you're here. We're recording this. We are recording it. Someone was asking, and thank you. When we were in the pregame show, we decided to start recording there. The meetings always run about 60 minutes, and we try to get questions and answers in. We're committed to maintaining a respectful and thoughtful environment. Our guest speakers may express viewpoints that are their own and not necessarily those of MST or a nonpartisan organization, but we're here to provide you with as much information as we can. And it's up to you to decide whether you like that information, whether it's valid to you or not. Stay connected. We were talking earlier in the pregame show about our different social media sites. We're on Gab. Facebook is really taken off for us. Still working on X, and our Rumble page has got all our videos. We also now have a YouTube page, and I will put that in that section for next week, so you guys will have all of those addresses. You got easy to go there. Winnipeg metropolitan region. I don't have any updates on anything here. We are going to be approaching the RM of Taché and try to make a presentation at their next council meeting. Just as a recap on what's going on there right now, the Winnipeg metropolitan region was supposed to submit their new Plan 2050 by January 1st, 2027. On their last meeting in December, they requested or they voted to send a letter to the minister asking for a year's extension to that deadline. So I believe they were asking for the extension till somewhere around November of 2027, or perhaps it was earlier in 2028. The interesting thing about that is that they haven't asked for a change in the rules for people to get out of the WMR. So just as a reminder for the folks who perhaps weren't here last week, the Freedom Bill that Wab Kinew was touting last year and was passed last June as Bill 4, which amended the Planning Act, allows for municipalities to get out of the WMR by simply writing a letter to the minister, and if the minister receives that letter, the minister must allow them to leave the WMR. And it works the other way too, if a group wants to get into the WMR. The problem is that there's a trigger on that ability to get out. So as of the election, the municipal election, which is Wednesday, October 28, 2026. So this fall, there's a municipal election. As of the municipal election, all of those rules to get out change, and the minister doesn't necessarily have to let you out. So what we found was a lot of different municipalities were saying, well, you know, we're going to wait to see the new Plan 2050 before we vote to leave the WMR. The trouble is that the original deadline for the Winnipeg metropolitan region to submit their Plan 2050 was after that change in the rules, because it was January 1st, 2027, where they had to submit it. And now they're pushing for it to be a year further down the road yet. So those municipalities that were thinking they were going to wait, they're just wasting time. You know, we're in mid-January right now. The deadline is October, and that might sound like it's a long time away until you consider that we're Manitobans. So we will disappear in June, July, and August, and then we'll be distracted in September with kids going back to school, and then whammo bammo, you can't get out of the WMR. Now, I don't know if Anthony's online tonight or not. I didn't see him, but he said last week that, for instance, the town of Stonewall has said they originally said they were going to wait to see the new plan, and then a week ago the town of Stonewall said, well, they're going to give it till April. If they don't see it by April, they'll leave. So that's what's going on with the WMR right now. Um, and again, I want to mention to you guys that they do have regular board meetings, and you can watch the board meetings on YouTube. But if you don't watch them live on YouTube, they disappear. They don't post them on YouTube and leave them there. So it's an interesting thing that they're doing there. So general updates. We are on Instagram. I am posting there regularly. We have an increased media presence, and you see, I didn't update this general updates from last week. And last week we had 5 million views. We're at 8 million now. So we seem to be growing our views at about 3 million plus or minus a week. YouTube page reconstruction. Now, we said it was underway, and it is. I'm just going to go to it. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is the update on the Manitoba Stronger website. So you'll see that it's a lot clearer, a lot easier to navigate, and I think it's prettier. Now, the other big change here was the video page. I got an email from members complaining about the video page. Before, it was just a long list of the dozens or hundreds of videos we've done. Now, if you click on it, it's got a whole new look. There's a featured video at the front, which is what you're looking at right there. And I wish that there it was. So there's a video up front, and then we have the video library sorted by different headings. And if you click on any of these headings, it takes you to that section of the library. We've also now posted the two seasons of What That Means Is broadcast that we did. So you can see that the videos are posted under different headings: social events, Winnipeg metropolitan region, so on and so forth. So that whole thing has been improved and updated, and we will have short reels on there coming up soon. There's just 2 on there right now, but there'll be a lot more. So with that, whoops. I want to go back to general updates. Well, that's that. Upcoming Zoom calls. We have next week. I'm negotiating with a very interesting guest. I think you guys will be very, very interested in that one. And the following Tuesday, which would be the 27th, Ken Lee is going to come on. Now, Ken Lee, as you may or may not know, has acted as campaign manager under many elections in Manitoba. He was Sandra Saint-Cyr's election manager for the school board. He's been involved um, with municipal elections and provincial elections. So he's going to talk to us not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, about what it's like to run a campaign, what it's like to run as a candidate. David, you got your hand up. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, as far as the legislature, because sometimes we don't get around to that, that I was talking to one of the Justice Minister's assistants. They are winding down, getting ready for the election, even though it's more than a year away. As far as legislation is concerned, they don't have room for many more ideas or bills. So that was one thing I thought I was sort of surprised at. And even though the leader of the government tends to go from one ludicrous press conference to another, there are people in that cabinet who actually make sense and seem to know their jobs. Um, and surprising, if you just do the media coverage. But the finance minister, even though he's running horrible deficits, does have an idea of what is wrong with what he's doing, and the same with the justice guy. So in the justice area, though, it's surprising that they have been quite receptive and to the changes I wanted to make in some bills. So that was just, I thought I'd throw that out, that even though they're in a very long recess, we're headed back into the territory from a few decades ago when they only met for 10 weeks a year or 7 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And they are meeting infrequently. There's a long gap, but at least their people are still available. So it's still an opportunity to visit with them. But we can't expect much in the way of new bills this year.
No, and David, just so that our members aren't confused, David is talking about the Manitoba provincial election for the legislature, and what we're dealing with this year in October is the municipal elections. So electing your mayors and reeves and councillors in the municipality. So there's two different elections. One this year in October, and then there's the provincial election coming up. Is it 2027 or is it 2028?
7.
It is 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing that's curious is that the city has a code of ethics. So just to make sure that nobody at City Hall ever breaks a rule or does anything improper. But that code of ethics you cannot file a complaint, and they can't decide on a complaint in 2026 because there's an election in 2026. So all the crooked stuff they've done recently or over the years, we have to be silent about it until after the election. The reason for that big window in the ethics rules is because if somebody was a crook and if it hit the newspapers, it would hurt their chances of re-election.
Well, of
It's
course.
right there in the ethics rules. So you can see who wrote the ethics rules. It wasn't one of us.
Well, it shouldn't be surprising. All right, Deb, you're up next. Go ahead, Deb.
Okay, well, let's see. We've got a few things on the go. Derek Sloan on Rumble had an interview with Helen Gruss exposing the truth and where that case is going. American thought leaders Chloe Cole breaks down major HHS shift on gender medicine and why it matters. Juno News, the Dalhousie University Agri-Food Analytics Lab annual top food stories is now out, offering snapshots of the issues that shape Canada's food landscape in 2025. Very interesting. Town Hall, 2 Colorado hospitals pull the plug on gender affirming care for minors. What they didn't really mention is that the funding had been stopped and they didn't really have the money to go ahead and do anything more. Children's Health Defense noted that HHS made sweeping changes to the childhood vaccine schedule. We did talk a little bit about that last week. The changes create a new framework that keeps currently recommended vaccines available and fully covered, while moving several vaccines into a category designed to emphasize shared decision-making between families and clinicians. American thought leaders Michael J. Waller, a senior analyst for strategy at the Center for Security Policy, and author of Big Intel, helps to understand the geopolitical implications of America's capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. The Bureau, former TD assistant manager, admits role in $474 million laundering scheme. Focal Point's Nicholas Hauser addresses Monsanto, sues Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson over alleged theft of COVID-19 vaccine technology and house fighting. And a further follow-up to that is basically what they were saying is that they wanted their share of the money derived from the COVID-19 shots. So it should be interesting. Western Standard Christian groups challenge Montreal ticket over Sean Fouche church worship service, and good for them. Winnipeg Free Press, Schiegel pays city court ordered $1.15 million for police headquarters bribe. And last but not least, Derek Sloan, Rumble interview with Chris Barber that explains the government's intentions. The process is the punishment. So our picks for the week were as follows: Derek Sloan, an interview with Helen Gruss. And they do have a documentary coming out on that, if I remember correctly, in the spring. The Bureau, that was our number 2 pick. Sam Cooper, the former TD assistant manager, admits role in a $4.74 million laundering scheme. And our pick number 3 was the Winnipeg Free Press. Schiegel, the former CAO, pays city by court order $1.15 million for police headquarters bribe. An honorable mention was Derek Sloan interview with Chris Barber that explains the government's intentions.
Deb, on the Schiegel issue, so I didn't read that in detail, but was there no jail time for taking a $1.1 million bribe?
No, there was no mention of it. It was just it was just like, well, if he pays the 1.15 million, everything should be good.
well, that's a sweetheart deal.
I'm trying to remain positive on it, making it a win of the week. But yeah, there's a lot of underlying current questions there that could have been, should have been asked and talked about in that story.
Well, you're right. And your second paragraph there, I'm just looking at it. You said the court ruled in 2022 that he accepted a bribe from Caspian Construction. Did anybody go to jail from Caspian Construction for trying to bribe a public official?
Didn't cover that.
No, the courts in City Hall want to send a message to future crooks that our hands are out.
Yeah, apparently. Deb, go ahead with your helpful hints.
Okay, so this week we and what inspired me was David Grant and his cold that he had last week, and I'm going, oh, I wish he was closer. I'd give him some of my cough drops, but hey, everybody to his own. So basically, any of the remedies and recipes that I put on here were the benefits of raw honey and how good it is for one's health and one's soul. We get our raw honey from Hillside Bee Ranch, and they're located in Oak Bank. It's very good. I love it. And yes, the cough drops, I don't know if you can see them very well here in the, I made a bag of them. They turned out quite well. The first time I made them, I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting, but it was luck at first strike, so you just keep on going. And then also, there's a molasses cough syrup, if anyone's interested. Very simple to make, and it does store for a while in the fridge. And then we did the vodka fire water. This was started in October 25. And fortunately or unfortunately, we haven't had a cold in the house to really have to use any of these things. I'm on standby just in case.
James, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Firstly, I'd like to say to Deb, that infighting that you were talking about, that's going to help reveal the truth. So I hope there's a lot of it. I hope there's a lot of infighting going on.
Yeah.
But more so, I'd like to get back to Kirsten. Kirsten, I fully appreciate everything you said regarding Bill C9. There's Bill C8 as well. But I felt I detected a little bit of fury in you, my dear. And I was that way about, a year ago. And then I got that God vibe in me, and I got no more fear. I got worries and I got concerns, but there's no more fear anymore. So I'm with you though, sister, right there with you.
Okay. Now there's just a couple of little wrap-ups that I want to talk to you all about. The first one has to do with the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I've mentioned this in the past, but I didn't get into the detail with you. Now I can. So a couple of months ago, I was approached by the CBC to become a member of what they call their CAB, and you can look this up on their website, the Community Advisory Board. It has, I think, if I remember, I'm going by my memory, and you guys all know how that is. It's got, I think it was 20 members on the Community Advisory Board. And so the intent of the Community Advisory Board was to meet, I can't remember how many times a year, I think it was 4 or 5 or 6 times a year with upper management of CBC. And this group that is supposed to be on this advisory board was supposed to advise CBC about what kind of a job they're doing, or do you think they're being fair? Do you think they're being honest? That was the intent of this thing. And it was and so part of that process was an interview, and I had an interview with these people in November, I think. And I thought that it would be an interesting exercise to get on this thing, um, just to kind of tell you what's going on. So we had an interview, and I'd like to tell you guys about that interview and the process we've gone through. So there was it was a Zoom call, and there was a number of people, senior people from the CBC on there. And the first question they asked me was what community I represented. Now, I know exactly what that means, but my answer to them was, well, let me think. I've been traveling across Canada with the NCI, and I've been speaking to thousands of Canadians, and I'm involved with education in the political arena, and we're trying to get people more actively involved. And so I said, I guess you'd call my community Canada. So I'm really a Canadian. And, and the reaction was there's a word, it was visceral. And then we interviewed for, I don't remember how long it was, probably about an hour or better. And I said to them, I want to be completely honest with you folks that, if you really want to know what I think about the CBC, you can look up the whole section on the CBC in the National Citizens Inquiry Report. I wrote that section. And you can see the recommendations that I made about the CBC and what we think of the CBC, and it's all backed up by truth, and it was all backed up by a sworn testimony from all kinds of folks. Like I guess that we interviewed 3 ex-CBC employees at the NCI. And in any case, so then they went away, and they were supposed to make a decision before Christmas, and then they couldn't make a decision before Christmas for whatever reason. And then they called me just before Christmas and said that they'd make a decision in January. And then they called me last week and they said, Ken, we did the best we could to get you on the Community Advisory Board, but we just couldn't find a place for you. And I said, oh, okay, that's okay. And then what they said to me was, but we have something else for you. We would like you to come on as a consultant to talk to our senior editors and our managers and advise them about certain stories. And I said, well, what do you have in mind? Like the WMR. Maybe the CBC didn't do a real good job of that in examining the issues there. And we'd maybe like to have you come in and talk about that and other things. So I said to them, this was like on last week sometime, I think it was, Rosalie, you can hop in and correct me. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday or something, or maybe it was Friday. And I said, well, give me a few days to think about it, and I will get back to you next week on it. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, and I alluded to it for the last month or two, so nobody could say that I was hiding anything. It was appropriate not to say anything until decisions were made. The reason I'm considering this is because it would be interesting to see what the internal workings are there, and are they actually doing anything of any value, or are they just providing lip service to this requirement that they're supposed to meet? So later on this week, I will return the call to the CBC and we will make a decision on what we're going to do. But I have to be honest with you guys, I'm leaning towards taking on this role, and I will let you know about it, and I will report to you what the discussions are so that you will also have a window into our national broadcaster. So I just wanted to make sure that we talked about this. I let you know about this. I had hinted on it before for the last month or so, but now you know what I know. So it's an interesting development. Go ahead, Deb.
I think it's a wonderful idea. How else do we let CBC know that we as taxpayers are not happy with the way they are spending the taxpayer dollar on one-sided journalism?
Yeah.
And
And
I
it's
want to say, attaboy, Ken, go for it.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting what a bubble they're in because they really, many of them, the upper management, don't even know what you just said. They don't believe it. Anyway, go ahead, James.
I'm way more cynical. I'm way more apprehensive. I think they want to keep their friends close and their enemies closer.
Well, this is just to, again, to be completely open with you guys, this is a non-paid position. There is no money involved here. There
No, I
was,
can think it.
there was money involved with the community advisory board. It's hilarious. It was $75 for a meeting, and the meetings would be 3 or 4 hours. And as a senior engineer, I make a little more than that. And by the way, I refused to take the pay. I told them at the time that I don't want to get paid anything. And they said to me, well, you can donate it to charity, which we would have done. But this new thing doesn't have there's no money involved. And again, I think it's a window so that I can report to the members about what the heck is being discussed there. Go ahead, Deb.
Just make sure you record everything in case they twist it around.
Ken, go ahead.
Well, yeah, a lot of the same concerns as James. I would just caution you that we have seen in the past a great deal of they take clips out and then the editors will take it and twist it, and you could really wind up with some black marks based on what they want to throw at you. I've seen that. I've been involved with that with media and stuff like that. I mean, and everybody does. It's a very dangerous position to be in.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and this is not an on-air position. This is advising their senior editorial staff. So it's whatever I do will not be on air. But you
nevertheless,
yeah,
they will record it.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And there's always risks. And you know what? I think Rosalie and I need to think about it a little bit more, but I will let you know on our next meeting what happened, and because I intend to phone them back this week to let them know.
You're our lead, and I would hate to see them attack you because we need you where you are.
Oh, believe me, they've been attacking me. I've been attacked nationally, so it's not. I'm not worried. But point well, very well taken.
I also want to say that I appreciate very much everybody's caution and protectiveness, and the cautionary notes, and they're well placed because there's a lot of really nasty positioning, and a lot of times some arenas are literally brood of vipers, and certainly the news media is that.
Yeah.
But I just want to say nobody is invincible. I have a lot of confidence in anybody can make a mistake, but like Kirsten was alluding to a little earlier, this year we might all have to take it up another level, another notch, and we have to be wise but not fearful. So I think good advice we get from each other, we have to be in support with each other, but also not back down, and God will give us wisdom for sure.
Yeah. I have one other little item today. I got a phone call from Rebel News. Did everybody know that Tamara Leach has taken a position at Rebel News? They've got some kind of cross country thing they're going to be doing, running across Canada with her.
They called me today.
Yeah, they called me today, and I said thanks, Bon.
She's on house arrest.
I know, guys. I'm immature. I still remember the runaround Rebel gave us at the conference. Do you remember when they phoned us and they were going to have all of their people there? And I can't remember the reporter was going to go there. And then the day before or 2 days before they pulled out on us. People didn't remember that, Deb. I could tell by the look on your face. Okay, James, go ahead.
How is Tamara Leach going to go traveling around Canada when she's on house arrest for 12 months?
They actually, that's why they did it, because under the thing that she's allowed to work.
Ah.
So
Yeah,
under
she's
her house
already-
arrest, she's allowed to go for work. So they hired her to spring her from her house.
Ah, nice.
Okay,
Oh,
Connie,
brilliant.
Everybody traveling to Toronto. So
Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah,
Connie, go
they're-
ahead.
What I found interesting in what he said, true or not, he said that she's a young person, sort of. She's going to be going to universities to get into the heads of the young people. And that's where we need to be focusing as well.
Mhm.
Influencing you young people compared to what they're teaching in there from the woke people.
Yeah. Yeah. Connie, you're absolutely right.
Thank you, Connie.
Sounded really good.
Right on.
All right, everybody. I guess that's a wrap. We're at 8:31. We went a minute over, and but I think it was a really good conversation. Everybody was really getting into it. We had lots of questions and discussions, and I always like to see that. I try to get them all, everybody on as best I can, with given our time constraints. So everybody, thank you very much. Have a great week this week. Hopefully, I have a meeting tomorrow to discuss our guest coming on next Tuesday. Remember, it's Ken Lee the week after, and I'll let you know as quickly as I can about our guest for this coming Tuesday. But with all that, everybody, it's wonderful to see you again, and I'll have this video up in the next day or so.
Bye. Nice seeing you all.
Nice to see
Bye,
you.
all.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
You too.
You guys.
Bye.
Appreciate you all. Bye.